Child spirits are called by the generic term Kumanthong, which can be literally translated as golden, thong, boy, Kuman. The less popular female ghost child is called Kumari, or sometimes Kuman Kyo. Two devotees spoke of spirits as having both sexes and referred to these spirits as Kathoi. However, the term Kumanthong typically is used generically to refer to both male and female child spirits. Devotees told that in general boy Kumanthong were preferred because they were understood to be more powerful than female spirits. Yet it is precisely the ability to control the child spirits and their relatively unthreatening status as children that makes them sought after. I asked devotees if power was what was needed. Why not invite an adult spirit? Devotees responded with shudders of horror and said that adult spirits were terrifying and not to be dabbled with. In fact, ghost stories, including films, often revolve around would-be magicians' attempts to control an adult spirit with horrifying results. The appeal of Kumanthong, therefore, is in the ambiguous power of the child, who often has male power, but in a childlike and controllable form. Conceptions of childhood innocence and purity are coupled with supernatural power that can exceed the power of a living adult. However, one particularly striking feature of the Kumanthong adopted by the devotees is that they are not necessarily children anymore. In fact, the age of the spirits may widely vary, from the fetal stage up until midlife. The exact age of the spirits is not particularly significant. However, as many devotees simply guessed at the age when prompted. The spirits are not necessarily trapped within the age that they died, and are often understood to age until they reach the age that they were destined to die, at which point they are ready for rebirth. For example, one devotee, Jim, a professional man in his early 30s, explained that Kumanthong grow in age. One spirit is actually not a child at all, but, he explained, a 20 or 30-year-old. She raised him since he was around 10 years old, in a kind of parallel development cycle. Child spirits are often linked to particular adult spirits who, in a sense, parent the child spirit. The best example of this is the lineage of fetal infant spirits with their mother if the mother dies in childbirth. In fact, the most powerful and threatening spirits are those of women who have died in childbirth or while pregnant, whose spiritual power is in a sense doubled by the presence of the fetal infant spirit within them. These spirits usually have a grudge against the living, a wrong that has been done to them that fuels a supernatural rage. This terrifying spiritual form is the subject of many popular ghost legends and films, including the iconic Nang Nok legend, as well as more contemporary novels and television series such as Sapusa. However, the image of deceased pregnant women as a powerful and threatening spiritual entity finds a masculine counterpart in the iconic origin story of Kumanthong, found in the epic story Kun Chang Kun Phieng. This story is widely known in Thailand, having been made into a feature film, and is almost always referenced in public discussions of child spirits or Kumanthong. It is important to briefly review this story, as it clearly displays the notion of Kumanthong, or child spirits more generally, as resources to be exploited by adults. For some devotees, Kumanthong are primarily the physical object that houses the child spirit. As such, these items can be bought and sold and have a market value attached to them, based on factors such as their age, magical expertise of specialists, monk or layperson, who invested the statue with supernatural power, and the related perceived potency of accompanying child spirit and aesthetics. Kumanthong collection is currently popular with urban middle-class collectors, with money to invest in pricey figurines and amulets. For these proprietors, it is the thing itself, the actual statue, that is the Kumanthong, such that the spirit cannot be meaningfully disassociated with its material housing. In this sense, the Kumanthong are very much like amulets that house impersonal supernatural forces that can be used by its owner. The amulet does not typically house a personal spirit with history. They are not personalized in this way. The preserved fetal infant corpses bought and sold by individuals illegally are perhaps best seen as this kind of impersonal amulet-like supernatural power, which will contrast strikingly with the sometimes disembodied, that is not housed in a statue figurine, but free-floating, child spirit companions. One collector, 21-year-old K, has collected approximately 60 Kumanthong statues. The process in which the statue was made, including the status of the maker, is of central importance in determining its value. According to K, the Keiji Akarn, or magical expert, is preferably a monk. When K described his collection, he focused on the magical properties of the amulet versus the personality and person relationship of the spirit. He also stressed that the most valuable Kumanthong were those that had been created by monks rather than lay people. The magic that is required to make a Kumanthong is thus positioned within established Buddhist institutions and distanced from the negative associations of practitioners of black magic, Mondam. As Kumanthong practices become popular with members of the middle classes, a shift has occurred to accommodate Borregia's sensibilities in which the negative associations of magic are downplayed or repositioned as part of what determines the commodity's value. In contrast to the elaborate magical rituals that comprise the Kumanthong of legend, such as is found in Kun Cheng Quan Phian, contemporary spirits often come to people in their dreams. For example, Ying, a woman in her late 60s, described a series of dreams she had when she first married her second husband and moved into his home. She claimed that in this dream, a small boy, a toddler, came to her and begged for attention and care. She dreamt of playing with him and bathing him and other acts of nurturance. She described these dreams as extremely pleasant and said they lasted for a period of weeks. In the dreams, the child aged, and by the end of the several-week period, he was school-aged. She said that she wanted to buy the child some toys, which would essentially form a guardianship relationship with him. But her husband was fearful and placed a protective design or yantra on the door of the house. After this time, the child no longer came to her in her dreams, and she felt great sadness at his loss. Child spirits are sought because they are understood to be more controllable than adult spirits. Some devotees call them pure, borisut, even angelic for some practitioners, in comparison to other spirits. However, they are not without danger. At the very least, they can be mischievous and destructive. Kumanthong may anger and punish their guardian. Guardians describe Kumanthong as potentially causing harm, such as turning over household objects or even pushing somebody down the stairs. Some guardians claim that their mischief could even cause someone's death in extreme cases. These spirits may be returned to the temple or the spirit medium from which they were obtained. On the other hand, if the guardians do not attentively tend to the spirits, they will leave on their own. The main goal of the proprietors is to keep their Kumanthong happy, so that they will continue with the relationship. There is thus a contractual aspect of this relationship. If one takes on the responsibility of a Kumanthong, one must take great care to fulfill assiduously one's end of the bargain. While there is a potential danger with the Kumanthong, through patient and conscientious caretaking, guardians can teach them to be obedient. Jim described this process as teaching the spirit to chua feng, or to listen to her obediently. Guardians make physical offerings to their Kumanthong, offering things such as red soda, snacks, and toys. However, most devotees describe the importance of mental connection to their spirit. The spirit must be thought of often and invited to partake in family meals. According to Jim, the spirit must be told if a visitor is to come and spend the night. When a visitor comes, you have to say, "A friend is coming over, okay? Please don't tease the visitor, okay?" Generally, Kumanthong are thought to provide benefits to their guardians and their household. While some of the benefits are rather mundane, everything from lottery numbers given to their guardians in dreams or whispered in their ear to parking places, or other benefits are a more encompassing caretaking relationship that includes protection and friendship. Mayo, a college student in her early 20s, said when she was a child she had asthma, and her father described the Kumanthong watching over her as she slept. She said nights when she had trouble breathing, the Kumanthong would sit with her, and she would feel better when she woke up. This Kumanthong took the role of a sibling, and she described him playing with toys as a child, and now being a young adult like herself, 20 or 30 years old. Likewise, Ying said that her Kumankyu, female Kumanthong, is a companion to her who is always present. She said that whenever she has problems, she talks to her. She described her Kumankyu as her friend. In some ways, Kumanthong play a role of traditional household or matrilineal spirits. For example, Ying explained that a relative got married and brought the husband to stay with her without asking permission from the Kumanthong. The next morning, a child's footprints were found near the household altar as if the child had been angrily stomping his feet. Ying surmised the spirit was a male Kumanthong who expressed such anger. For many of Kumanthong guardians, there is no clear distinction between sentimental and material attachments to their spirit. Here we can return to the concept of bunkun, and see that the reciprocal ties that exist between guardians and their spirits are multifaceted. Caretaking between parents and their children involve oscillations between providing emotional and material support in both directions. In this way, the relationship with the Kumanthong has little difference from the types of expectations that normatively exist between parents and their children.